we'll we'll just revise what we had learned last time. We had started with the number of especially if you see number of squares in a chessboard. Can anybody tell me what are the number of squares in a chessboard?
64.
64, right? Yeah. So in 64 squares, there are how many files? And can you name the files? Any one of them?
A to H.
A to H, right? A to H and ranks
1 to 8.
1 to 8.
1 to 8.
1 to 8.
1 to 8 ranks, right? We also learnt about the algebraic notations, and if you see right now the rook is on which square?
A.
A1.
A1.
A1. A1, right?
Rajesh,
So just
Rajesh, Rajesh Uttam here. In fact, I was just working on this. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong. I tried to simplify this for myself, and even is black, odd is black, even odd is white. Like say, for example, any you take any square.
correct.
A, C, E, G, they are all odd.
Correct.
And BD are all even.
Correct.
So blindly, if anybody says B means it is even. And
Correct.
if the second number is even, means
Correct.
it will be black. If it is odd, it will be white. Simple.
Correct.
So, I tried to devise that formula. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's right. Uttamji, we can have a way of remembering things.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. And we should try and simplify this for us. In fact, I'm confident that if you ask me any now, I can tell you because I tried to memorize it from this point of.
Correct. That's the best way of remembering it.
Right?
Yeah. For example, A7 is which color?
A7 is odd, so it is black.
Black. Very good. B8.
B8 is even, so it is white.
Okay. C1.
C1 is odd, so it is black.
Okay. H5.
H5 is white.
Black.
No.
H5
Black.
is white.
White.
Okay.
Because both are odd.
Correct.
That is because the reason is because both are odd.
Correct. So so try to do practice this as whenever you get time. So that would basically help you to remember all the squares. So that is one. So we learned about notations. We also learned about the value of pieces last time, if you remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. What is the value of rook?
5.
Rook is 7.
5.
Rook is 5.
5. Sorry. Yeah. 9. Queen is 9.
Queen is 9. Right.
Queen is 9.
Bishop is 3.
Bishop is 3.
Yeah,
Bishop and knight are 3.
Bishop and knight are 3.
Correct.
Pawn
Bishop
is
and knight
1.
and 3, and pawn is 1.
Pawn is
1.
There's no 7. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. And king is infinite.
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 Right.
For namesake.
Okay. So we learned about this, and we'll start today now with the movement of pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you see rook, all of you can keep your rook on the board. Okay. And we'll try to move the rook. Okay. The rook moves horizontally as well as vertically.
Board. Just
The
one second.
The rook, if you see, goes horizontally as well as vertically.
Vertically. Okay.
The rook goes horizontally as well as vertically.
It can cross any squares or only 1 or 2, any limitations?
rook has no limitation.
Okay.
Only thing is it cannot jump.
King
If
one.
in between any other coin is there, it cannot jump.
Ah,
So it
okay.
will. I mean, it will capture.
Here, knight can jump.
Hello.
A second.
Uttamji, repeat your formula.
Acha, you want me to repeat my formula?
Yes. So,
It's simple. It's simple.
tell me.
Starting from A to
H.
H. Okay.
All-
A, C, E, F.
G. All are black.
All are odd.
No,
Uh,
wrong.
around A's,
A, C,
A,
E, G.
C,
E,
E,
G.
F.
Not
F.
H.
So,
Not H.
F. I said F, madam. A,
A's,
No,
C, E,
A,
and
C, E,
G.
G.
Sorry. A, C, E, and G.
Yes.
All
AC.
these four, A, C, E, and G, all are odd. Okay. Similarly, B,
Nahin.
D.
It should
Can
be
Madam,
say,
can
it,
can I?
Miruna, shall I say?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
See if you can have your own way of remembering things. See, if you see A1 is black. So A1, C1, okay, E1 and G1 all will be black. If you remember last time also I mentioned that way. Okay. Similarly, if you see A1, 3, A3, A5, A7, all these are black. So you can have your own ways of remembering these things. The square of the colors. Okay. Colors, you can remember the colors that way.
Rajesh, why you require these things? Why you should visualize and all? When you are going to have your eyes and then open and play, no?
Yes, sir. That's a very good question. Why we should visualize? Because although the chess is played on the board, okay, all the tactics and strategies in the mind. All the top players I've seen, they try to visualize the board in their mind and play.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, there is a concept of a blindfold. I do not know where a chess player plays blindfold with different players. He's blindfold. He ties a kerchief and he plays across with different boards.
Okay. Yeah.
So there is a blindfold concept.
Yeah, I understood.
You can check that in the YouTube also. They tie their kerchief on their eyes and they go to multiple boards and they remember the position in each and every board. So that is why we require.
First itself you told us that a blind person can also play chess.
No, blind person has a different board. They have a Stoughton board, but still they visualize the board in their mind.
Okay. Thank you.
So it is very important. Although it is played on the board, we have to visualize the board. Okay, in the man, and this comes by practice. This comes only by practice.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay. So let's move now.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go forward. We were talking of the movement of pieces. Okay, a rook. If you see rook goes horizontally as well as vertically. So the rook is on A1. The rook can go to B1, C1, D1, E1, F1, G1, and H1.
All verticals and horizontal. Same line.
It can go horizontally as well as it can go vertically also.
And no limitation of blocks.
No. Yes. If there is a pawn before the rook, it cannot move. Only I will come to knight. Only knight can jump the pieces. Rook cannot jump its own pieces. So there has to be no block, okay, between the rook and others. So the line has to be clear.
Okay.
He cannot capture, you mean?
He can capture. All the pieces can capture. For example, if the rook has its own. Now let me clarify. Let's say the rook here A1. If there is a white piece on A2, he cannot jump his own, from his own piece. That's what I said.
He cannot jump. His own, yes. But if it's the opposite, yes.
Opposite, yes, you can capture. Yes.
You can capture, you cannot jump.
Here. So let us try to keep this rook now. Okay, can you let me know how many squares it can go from A1?
7.
Last, till the last.
Till the 8.
Okay,
8. A8.
There is no.
8
And
there is no
horizontally as well as vertically.
yes,
Yes.
Horizontally as well as vertically. If you see horizontally,
Till H.
including A1, it would be 7 because already we have taken A1 into count.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I said A7. 7. It can go to 7.
On, okay, E5. Please keep the rook on E5. Please keep the rook on E5 and tell me how many squares it can cover.
horizontally this side.
Horizontally
Four.
3 and vertically 1.
5.
Ah,
5.
3 and 4.
So 4. Horizontally
4
3 and vertically 4.
horizontally.
Vertically 5.
Vertically 7.
Horizontally 3 and vertically 5.
I'm saying rook is on E5.
E5.
Sir, can I tell you, Miruna?
Horizontally and vertically 3.
So-
3, 3.
Sir, on one side, rook can travel in the files, 3 files and 5 files on other side. And vertically also, it can travel 3 squares on the one side and 5 squares on the other side.
no, throughout he can travel, no, 7.
Can you see this rook on E5? Can
Yes.
all of you see the rook on E5?
Yes, sir. Yes.
14 places.
Wait. Let us take one by one because I'm getting. Let us take the horizontally. Okay, and let us see. It will go to A5, B5, C5, D5, E5 is already there, F5, G5, H5.
7 plus
7 plus 1, the E5, 8, right?
that is
Let us
also
see.
another 7.
Ah,
Another 7. So 14.
okay. So 8 plus 7.
7. 15.
So if you see the power, okay, 8 plus 7 is 15, right? It covers 15 squares. But what happens when the rook is on a central square? When the rook is on a central square, it exercises more pressure on the enemy camp.
Mhm.
If it is,
That is why it is always important to direct all your forces towards the central squares. Am I clear here? Any doubts?
why it is preferable?
Why? Because ma'am, when your pieces towards the center, you can control and attack your opponent. It becomes easy to direct.
Okay.
When you are the center of the board, E4, E5, D4, D5, you can marshal your resources towards the enemy camp.
But wherever it is, the number of movements would be the same as 15. Whether it is in A5 or E5, does it make any difference?
No, what happens when it is in the corner?
Uh,
It is the control is towards. Let's say if the rook is on A1, so it will be
A5,
directed
A5.
to.
Let's have it as a A5.
Let's have it on A5. See if it is in the side, the corner. What it's saying, although the coverage might be the same, okay, but the thing is, we are looking at attacking our enemy's camp resources.
Okay. Spread
So
is
always we should try to direct our resources, our pieces towards the center, whether it's a bishop or your knight or a rook towards the
Hello?
central file. It becomes
And-
easy to marshal our resources.
But then on the other hand, we have to protect them also from the enemy if they are in the
Yes.
center.
Yeah, there are two
Aspects.
yes. We have to look into that also. See, it all
Yeah.
depends upon the position of the board, which will be coming later. Okay, but is that okay? Always we should try to direct our pieces towards the center. Bishop is on which square? White bishop is on?
A2.
No, not C.
Sir,
No,
it is on the C1.
correct. White bishop is on C1 and one more place.
And it is on the
F, F,
A,
F1. Very good. And the black bishop is on?
black will be on F8.
F8 as well as
C. C8.
C8.
C8. Exactly, C8.
C8. Yeah.
Okay. So let us try to understand the movement of bishop now. Bishop moves diagonally. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let us try to keep the bishop on C1.
Hmm.
It can go up to uh,
One square or more than one square.
can go up to that G6. H and 6.
H6.
It can go up to that.
Yeah. So it will be bishop on C1, D2, E3, F4, G5, H6.
Yeah.
We also have bishop on A3 and B2. Right. So
That can
totally
go
how many squares can be covered, including G1?
8.
up to
8.
6.
Very good. 8. Exactly. Now let us try to keep this bishop on a central square. Okay. Let's try to keep it on D4. Can now you let me know how many squares it can cover from D4?
15. This side 8. That side
13.
No, 14, I think.
One side 2, the other side 5. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Even downwards he can go.
What is
13.
Onwards also it can go, no?
Yeah.
Can
Ah,
go.
so
It is not only one side it can go. It can go. See, if you can see here. Can you see the board where I have arranged all the bishop?
Yes.
Yes. So 1,
14,
3, 4, 4, 7, 8, 8, 11,
14,
14.
13 plus
13.
14. 14.
14,
14.
including D4.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, including D4, 14, otherwise 13.
Correct. Correct. So what do we understand from here? When the bishop is on central squares, central square, what happens?
Less number of movements, only 14. Whereas Brook can move 15 squares, whereas Bishop takes
14 squares,
That is
including
for Bishop for 14.
ah,
So I'm comparing Bishop against against your.
no. We are not comparing here. We are just
Okay,
looking into the
okay,
control of the squares of a single piece bishop on
okay.
D1 vis-a-vis with that of C1. So when the bishop was on D4, it had
14,
control over 14 squares, right?
Yes.
right.
But when the bishop was on C1, it had control on 8 squares. No?
6.
When the
7
bishop
squares.
was on C1, how many squares it had control?
8.
8. Now when the bishop is on D4, how many squares it can have control?
14.
Okay.
Including the D1. So you understand, the more we centralize a piece,
The
more
number of
control we
squares.
get for our pieces, more it can attack the enemy camp. See the direction towards the enemy camp. Try to A7, okay, B6, C5. It can be directed towards the enemy camp. So chess is like, the army formations. So when you like here we are, when we are trying to create a formation so that we can marshal our attacks towards the enemy camp, and all our forces should be directed towards the king, because it is the checkmate of the king which ends the game.
Okay, now bishop can go only one step or as many?
Bishop can no, bishop can go all, right? It can go from A1 to H8.
Okay.
It can cover diagonally. Okay, all the like the dark colored will go in dark squares diagonally, and the light colored bishop will go in light squares.
Okay.
Let's say
rook also can go all the way, isn't it?
But straight.
all the way.
Yes, all the way up.
And
Right
it
from
can
7.
go backward also.
Yeah, it can go backward also.
Backward
Okay.
also. Horizontal and vertical.
It can, let's say the bishop is on E5, it can go backward also.
Oh, okay.
Can you see here? It can cover all the squares. It can go, the dark colored will go in dark squares. And let's say if it is a light colored bishop, which is on F1, it will go in the diagonally in the light colored squares. Let's say F1, it will be covering this way.
Yes.
The main difference between the rook and the bishop is
8
rook
including
goes
itself.
Yeah, I cannot hear you, ma'am.
No. The main difference between rook and bishop is rook can go straight any number of square, but
Rook
diagonally.
can go horizontally as well as vertically, straight lines.
Correct.
Standing line or sleeping line,
Correct.
while bishop goes diagonally.
Diagonal.
Mr. Rajesh,
Yeah.
can I speak? These pawns that are the ones who are in front of every other, that is in one line, these pawns have a power to capture even these bishop and rook.
Ma'am, we'll come to pawn later. Can we come to pawn later?
It has
Otherwise,
power.
it will, right now we are, we'll clear your doubts. No doubt, we'll clear your doubts. Because otherwise, what will happen? It will create confusion with others. So right now, since we are on bishop now, you ask me about rook or bishop.
A small
Rook
clarification.
or
Rook can also skip more than one square.
Rook cannot jump any square. Okay, rook cannot jump.
If it is vacant, can he jump more than one square?
Let's say, for example, just wait, ma'am. You mean to say, let's say the rook is on A1,
Yes.
right? All these lines are vacant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
It can
7,
go
8.
to H1?
It can go to H1 if it is vacant, yes.
Okay.
If this line is vacant, let's say B1, C1, D1, E1, all these are vacant, it can go to H1.
Okay. So
And
it's
can
just
rook
about
go
vacancy.
backwards, Rajesh?
Yes.
Acha.
Only
Really
I will be coming to that. Only pawn cannot go backwards. The knight, bishop, rook, queen, everything can go backward.
Oh, okay.
Only pawn cannot go backward.
Okay.
But pawn has a special quality. Okay, that is what, once it reaches the opponent's 8th rank, if it is white, it is 8th rank, or if it's black, if it reaches the 1st rank, it can become a piece. It can transform itself. You can get a piece.
Yes.
Piece means?
Let's say, for example, your A2 reaches A8 square.
Yeah.
You can have a queen.
Oh, anything you want.
Anything you want. But the most powerful is a queen. So normally people will take a queen until unless there is a position where you under promote your piece.
Okay.
So any piece, if you say, can go backward except the pawn.
Sir,
You
I
can
have a
get
question here, Miruna.
ma'am.
I have a question here. You said when pawn reaches to the 8th rank, it can even take a queen, but opponent has no. Suppose we have not lost our queen. Can we have
Still you can
second
have
queen?
queens.
Added.
Second queen, added queen. Okay.
Added to it.
Okay, good.
If you see children game, they would love to have 2 or 3 queens. So sometimes some of the children when they play, they have 2 or 3 queens on a board. They
Because
keep on making, they keep on making queens.
And the same quality of the queens. There's no difference.
But then how you
Rajesh,
recognize?
Rajesh,
How
but
you
by
recognize?
just a minute, Rajesh, by rule, how many maximum queens can you have on the chessboard? 2?
8 plus 1, 9. 8 pawns plus 1 existing queen. 9 queens can be made.
My God.
I see.
My goodness, my goodness,
So
Mr.
in
Rajesh.
general, it is advantageous to have converting the
This is
pawn
not
to take to the extreme to make it as queen.
But it is
Mr.
just,
Rajesh.
the top player would not like to do that. What they will try to do, if there is an advantage of a single queen over the opponent, they'll try to convert and win the game. They will not just try
Okay.
to make more queens.
Then more queens have to be
Mr.
protected in
Rajesh.
that case, no?
Pardon me?
More queens may have to be protected. If I have 4 queens, if one queen is defeated by my opponent, does it mean my game is over?
No.
Oh, still I can
I
have
can,
this
as I told you, maximum I can have 9 queens, 8 pawns plus 1 existing queen, 9 queens. So even if one queen goes away, the other queen remains.
Okay.
And
So
the
then
game
I can,
continues.
I continue to stay powerful.
Correct.
Mr. Rajesh, there's one question I want to ask. In the set of chess board, we have only 1 queen of black and 1 queen of white. How can you have 8 queens or
We have 8 pawns.
Yes.
We have 8 pawns
Yes.
plus 1 existing queen.
Yes.
So
Yes.
8 pawns, all the 8 pawns. There is a possibility if your pawns are not captured, all that possibility of becoming a queen. Maximum 8 pawns, 8 queens plus 1s. We can maximum have 9 queens, but that is very
Low
rare.
probability.
That's a very low probability.
But
No, Rajesh, I think I have not asked my question properly. What I am asking you is, my question is, please understand my question. At any given time, physically on a chessboard, you can have only 1 queen, is it, or 2 queens?
I can have more than 1 queen. I can have 2 queens. I can have 3 queens also, sir.
Physically?
Yes.
because
The set is only one.
If you are successful in making the pawn to go to the 8th side,
Correct.
possible.
When they're successful to make the pawn to go the 8th rank, I can have more than 1 queen. I can have 2, 3. So I said the maximum possibility is 8 pawns if I have 8 plus existing 9. But that is a very low probability. So there, okay. So there is a probability that you can have 9 queens on the board, but nobody does that. Okay. Maximum what people try to do.
What are the disadvantages of having more queens?
It does not make any sense to have more queens on the board. It is just we have to convert the game. So we should not try to have unnecessary more queens or more. Okay, we just try to have our idea whenever we play chess is to that we should try to
capture other queen and protect our queen, not to have more queens.
Not to have more and try to convert it with a 1 queen also. It's more than enough sometimes, to win the game. You don't have to have extra queens. We'll come to that. We'll come to the positions. We'll come to the positions, ma'am.
Mr. Rajesh, I am still confused. In a set, we have only 1 queen. If the pawns reach that point, 1 queen we get. How do we get the other? We don't have those. We don't have queens to play.
If there is an extra set of queen, we can take that extra set of queen. So although we have 1 queen, we can take an extra set of queen and make it a queen.
So we buy more chessboard and with the
No, you don't have to buy more chessboard. Some of the chessboards normally have an extra queen. Some of the
Yeah,
chessboard.
that's exactly. Now the chessboard that I bought has an extra queen. That is, there's only one queen, one extra queen.
Correct.
Okay. So
But
that is why I asked you this question.
no, you
That's
can have more than 2 queens also, sir. It's possible.
okay.
Yeah.
You can have 3 queens also. Yes. If you have 2 extra pawns, I can convert that 2 extra pawns into 2 queens and I can have 3 queens on a board. Quite possible.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So is it clear this movement of rook and bishop? Any doubt?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Now we'll go to the moment of the most tricky piece, and that is knight. Can you tell me knight on white is which square?
A2.
No, B.
Knight
B.
position.
B1.
A2.
B1.
Oh,
B1.
sorry, B1. Sorry, B1.
B1 and
G.
G1.
G1. Very good. And black?
Black is
B8 and G8.
Correct.
B8 and G8.
And
B8 and G8.
G8.
So he
B8 and G8. What is the notation of knight?
मैंने खाया अंकल ने
N.
बाकी क्या कटा हुआ है
Very good. Okay. So let us try to move the knight here. Let us try to move the knight. Let us try to keep the knight on B1. Okay, knight goes L shape. Okay.
Yeah.
For example, see here. The knight is on
B1.
B1. It will go to
C3 or
D3 or
A3.
C3.
A3.
B3 or C3.
A3 or C3.
Sorry. As knight is on B1, it will go to A3
or C3.
or C3.
Yes.
So, sorry, ma'am, there is a lot of noise coming in my background. So that is actually, you know, there is some program happening down in my society. Okay. Am I audible right now?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So knight on B1, sorry, it will go to A3 as well as C3. There is one more place it can go. So it goes in a L shape. Okay, 3 steps. If you see here, knight, how does it go?
D2.
Yeah, D2.
Yeah, D2.
D2.
So you can see here, knight goes from what? Which one? B1 to A3, C3 and D2.
D2.
Clear?
D2.
So if you see here, knight, when the knight is on B1, how many squares it covers?
2.5.
No.
2.5.
4.
1, 2, 3. 4 including the B1, right? So totally from B1 it can cover 3 squares. Okay. Will not include the B1.
So 3 squares.
3 squares, right?
Yeah.
Now let us try to keep the knight here on between the center of the board. Just a minute, huh?
Vimal.
Hello. Yeah, sorry. Knight is on D4.
D4.
Yes.
6.
D4.
So can you tell me from D4 it goes 3 steps, right? The knight goes 3 steps. So how many squares, which all squares it will go? Try to keep that and let me know the number of squares it can cover from D4.
It will come up to
B5.
E7.
2.
So
I would request. I would request, sir. I would request all of you to just write down the answers. I would request all of you because I want all of you to learn. So I am only getting answers from few of you. So because I do not know online if all are able to understand, so I would request all of you to write down the answers and just,
Where should we write? In chat box?
yeah, if you have a notebook or you can put in the chat. You can put in the chat also. Then we'll verify. Knight is on D1. Knight is on D4.
D4.
From D4, how many squares it can cover? 3 steps, right? It's a tricky piece and knight is the only piece which can jump over its own squares. You can write down knight is the only piece. Knight is the only piece which can jump over its own squares.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, for example, let's say the knight is on
D4.
D4.
D4, and let's say there is a pawn here. Okay.
Oh, okay. It
Okay.
can skip. It can skip.
It can jump. Still, it can jump to E6.
E6.
It can jump to E6. It
E6
can jump
or
over its
D5.
own squares.
Acha. Okay. Understood.
Knight is the only piece over its
Which
own
can jump
squares.
over its own squares.
Own squares, I mean own pieces. Own pieces. Knight is the only,
only piece which can move.
which can jump over its own piece. Yeah, own pawns. So let's say, yeah. So let's say if let's say I'll just again show you one position here. I'll just remove it. Okay. Fine. Can you see this position now? Where is the knight?
B1.
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 Okay.
B1.
B1.
Knight is on B1. We have 2 pawns on B2 and C2.
Yes.
King is on E1 and the black king is on E8. Right?
Right, sir.
Okay. What I meant was knight can jump over its own pieces. Which means knight is there on B1. No.
B1.
It can jump over its own pieces.
It can go to C3
Or let's say
C2.
even if the knight, so knight has a special capacity to jump. As a horse, it has a special capacity to jump over its own pieces. So O piece as well as the, let's say even if it's an opponent, even if it's a black piece here.
Okay.
Still it can jump.
Fine.
It can jump. Okay.
Only if the pawns are there, no? Otherwise, no.
Otherwise also it can jump.
Any
Only the
piece,
jumping
any
squares.
piece.
Yeah, let
Any-
me complete. Let's say, let's say if it is having its own pawn. Let us take a situation when the knight is on B1, okay, and there is a pawn on A3. So tell me which squares it can jump now. Can it go to A3?
No.
Yeah, because it is.
No space. No space. Occupied.
But if it's a black pawn, it can capture it.
Yes.
Okay.
But if it's a black pawn, the knight can capture it. Okay.
Yeah.
But if it's a white pawn,
It
it
can
is
jump over.
obstructed by its own piece. So it can't go. Because it is in the landing square. So which
Okay.
square it can go from knight from B1? Which square it can go?
A3 and D2.
No, A3, sir, you cannot go to A3
Yeah,
because
C3.
C3, sorry.
C3.
C3 and
it can go,
C3 and D2.
and
C3 and D2,
D4,
exactly.
D2 it can go.
You can practice this right now. I'll give you a few minutes. I would request you to keep it. Okay, what I would request all of you, okay, since all of you now can please keep your knight on D4. Okay, small exercise, and let me know how many squares it can cover from D4. And another position, I'll give you a knight on G3. Two positions I'm giving all of you. Just write down the answers in your notebook.
One you said is D4.
Yeah, knight is on D4 and another is on G3.
Initially you had kept it on D4, right?
Yeah. So I'm giving you two problems here, sir. One is on D4, how many squares it can cover. Second problem is on G3 and how many squares it can cover from G3. So let us take first D4.
Yeah, one is.
So it can go to B3 and B5.
I think let's all
F3,
do it.
F3, B3.
Let us. I would request all of you to write it down so that all of us remember, because it's very tricky. Sometimes it's not easy to understand. Knight is a very tricky piece. Okay, so I would request all of you try. Anybody has doubt in the movement of knight? Knight goes L shape. Okay, L shape, inverted L shape.
D6.
Anybody has any doubts? Please feel free to ask me.
Yeah, I have a doubt. Now
Yeah.
you told me that if it is a black pawn or a white pawn, it can jump over and go. If it is a black pawn, you can capture it. And if it is a white pawn, he can just jump over it and go.
Let us take that position. For example, if the black pawn is there before, as I mentioned here.
Yeah.
Let us take a position. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see a black pawn here? It can jump over it. The knight can jump over it. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Because a knight has a special capacity to jump over its own pieces and opponent's pieces. But let's say the knight. But we should remember, let's say the knight here has a pawn on C6. Its own pawn on C6.
Yes.
So it cannot go on C6, no?
Yes.
That's what I meant. But if it's a black pawn on C6,
it can capture.
Yeah, it can capture.
Okay. And no, I had a doubt that if it now the knight is on D4, right? Now
D4,
suppose there is a bishop or any other rook or bishop, can it jump over it?
Yes.
Yes, it can.
It can.
Yes.
Any
And if
piece.
it's a black one, it can capture.
It can even jump queen.
Yes, it can jump to any piece, including own queen and other. Yeah.
Any piece, any color. Color
Now
wise.
cleared. Now cleared.
Rajesh,
So let us try to do this problem.
Rajesh, I'm Miruna here. I have written 6 positions of D4 knight. Can I tell
Okay,
you
ma'am, let us
6
check.
positions?
Okay, knight on D4 from it can go from D4 to
6 position.
I'll tell you. It
Yeah.
8 position. It can
Yeah,
go
tell
to
me.
it can go to B5. It can go
Wait,
to
ma'am, one by one. Let's B5.
B5.
Okay. Just a minute, ma'am. Ma'am.
Yeah.
From D4, it can go to B5 and another position D4 to
F5. F5.
F5.
Then C6.
C6. Okay.
And E6. So these
E6.
are
Okay.
another 4 are B3.
Another 4 are B3.
F3.
F3.
E2. E2 and C2.
Okay,
and
great,
yeah.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful. See, it's a beautiful pattern now. How does it look?
Circle.
Circular.
Circular. It's very beautiful pattern. When the knight was on B1, if you see, it could have only moved to 3 squares.
Yes.
So you understand, when the knight is in a central square,
Yeah,
when
it
the
has
knight
the
is in a
more,
central square,
More
it has
scope.
more control
more
over
chances.
squares. Central square, D4,
Mm.
it has more control over other squares.
Mm.
Very
तो
nice,
कॉल
ma'am.
किया ना फिर
Clear, clear. Everybody clear?
Yes.
Good, ma'am.
Yes,
Maruna,
yes,
ma'am.
yes.
Very wonderful.
I'm thankful,
Yeah.
thankful to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
No. You did it well.
I had also.
You can practice whenever you get time. Now you can keep the scissors and try to calculate the
Yes.
number of squares it can cover.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. One more position I
ये थ्री
mentioned
कहाँ से आया ये तो
was
आएगा ही ना
I would request now one of the volunteers, any other volunteer on G3. We were telling about G3. Can you tell me how many squares it can cover from G3?
Yes.
H1 and F1,
Yeah.
Three.
H5 and F5, E2
It can go
or
to,
E2.
it can go to H5,
F5,
F5,
E2 or E4,
E2 and
E4,
E4,
H1 or H5,
H1 and
H5.
H5 already done, sir.
Yeah.
Already done. Okay.
One more square.
Close to
This side. C3.
Not C3. One more square. We are on G3. Knight is
You are
on
on
G3.
G3.
F5,
One more square it can go from
Yeah,
G3.
F1,
F1, exactly.
F1.
Correct. Good. So how many squares it can cover from G3?
6.
6. Now you understood that there's a difference, no? When it was in D, okay, it could cover more squares. So as the P is in a central square, it has more control over different squares. Any doubts till here? Any doubts anybody has have? Anybody?
No. Very nice.
It is clear.
सब लोग English, everybody is comfortable in English, na?
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody
Yes,
has no wants
Yes,
me to
sir.
speak Hindi?
This is the most tricky.
Yeah, night is the most tricky piece. Night सबसे tricky है. आप क्या कर सकते हो आप लोग? What you should do now, whenever you get time, no, you can, you should try this
F5.
blind visualization game. You should try to keep the knight, bishop, rook in different squares and try to calculate the number of squares. There is a lot of maths in chess. Calculation. Chess में काफी calculation है.
ये क्या हो गया F6
Can I give one more position?
Yes.
F1 यार
sir.
Okay.
Yes, Rajesh.
F1 कवर किया H1 कवर किया
And then we have to cover pawn.
H5
We will
कवर
cover
किया
pawn first, man.
Okay.
Yes.
First one.
Okay.
H
See the pawns here. Can you see all of you the pawns? I'm
Yes.
just keeping the pawns here.
Yes.
King and the pawns.
Yes.
F5 कवर किया क्या F5 कवर किया
The starting move of a pawn can be 2 squares. The starting move can be 2 squares. Okay.
2 squares straight.
2 squares straight. Exactly. So let's say it can go from E2 to E4. It can go from G7 to
B5.
G5. G7 to G5. G7 to G5.
Rajesh, it's always advantageous to move the central pawns faster than the side
Yes.
pawns.
We'll come to that when we learn the opening theory. Whenever we have to start a game, it is always we should try to move with the central pawns. Because as we have learned, we have to try to control our central squares.
Okay.
Okay.
Our central squares are d4, d5, e4, e5. Either you develop your pawn towards the center or you develop your knight towards the center. There is a knight opening also known as Retty's opening, where you play the knight move and direct towards the center.
But then they
Pawn,
can
clarification. Pawn can move 2 squares to the front. Diagonally also it can go diagonally.
No.
Diagonally, no. Diagonally,
No.
the
Okay.
capture happens diagonally. Let's say if I play diagonally here, what I have played? F7 to F5.
Yes.
So the capture will happen diagonally one step. Capture जो है, from here, let's say E4, it will capture to F5. So the pawn moves straight, captures diagonally. Is it clear?
Okay. And the pawn goes only one
The
step
first
ahead.
move you can write down. No, the right you can write down the first movement of pawn can be either 2 or 1 squares.
Okay.
The first move of the pawn.
1 square.
Either 2 or 1. It can be 1 also.
Okay, but capture is diagonal.
The capture is diagonal.
Okay. But it can move forward, it can move sideways.
So only the first, let's say I made E4 here, okay, E5, but afterwards the movement is only 1. Only the first movement is 2 squares.
Okay.
And the capture happens diagonally. Let's say if I move this pawn on D5, there is a white square pawn on E4, you can capture it diagonally.
Yeah, okay.
Sir, I have a Rajesh ji, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can pawn move in one step horizontally?
No.
Horizontally, no, ma'am. It can only go vertically. Straight ही जा सकता है.
Only vertically.
Horizontal नहीं, sideways नहीं जा सकता.
Okay.
It can only go straight. First step 2 or 1.
Rajesh,
Mr. Rajesh,
is it wise to move the pawn in front of the queen by 2 squares?
No.
It depends. See, there are openings where you can move even 1 square also.
True, but is it better actually to move the pawn above the queen or rather than the other places?
I did not get your question, sir.
No.
Exactly.
Queen is supposed to be protected.
Correct.
So is it right? Is it wise to start playing the pawn in front of the queen further up?
Yeah, you can do that. Let's say you mean to say let the queen is on D1, right? You mean to say, sir, then can I move from D2 to D4, right?
Sure. Is it wise actually? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, there is an opening. Yes, you can do that. There are different openings. So we can move D4, we can wise. So we can do that.
Okay.
But Mr. Rajesh, the enemy camp also is alert, isn't it? It won't let it do.
Pardon me?
Enemy camp is more alert also. It is also alert, so it won't let this happen.
No. So what happens is there are a lot of moves. We'll be coming to learning different opening moves.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Rajesh, I think we let us stick to the basics first.
Correct.
Strategies can come later on.
Correct. There are a lot of opening moves, ma'am. मैं बताऊं आपको Italian opening है, English opening है, Retty's opening है, Sicilian है, Caro-Kann है, French defense है, okay, Petrov defense है. There are a lot of moves, openings.
Let us learn the basics first.
Correct. Right now, we are learning the movement of pieces.
Okay. Yeah.
Rajesh, you said you need to control the central board, no? Center of the board.
Center of
when do you move the pawn one step only? Because the opening is from white. Naturally, you'd like to move two pieces, no?
Yeah, naturally, most of the time people move two pieces, two squares.
Two squares. Yeah.
Except for some openings where they move one square.
Okay.
Try to see beginner's opening. If you see, I'll just show you, sir. I'll just show you one opening right now. If it's okay to all of you. Can all of
Yes.
you see the board? Just observe the opening.
Yes.
It's known as the Italian opening, E4, E5. Okay, and NF3, NC6. Bishop C4, Bishop C5. Okay, then I play NC3, NF6, Castle, Castle. Okay, this is a standard Italian opening. What am I trying to do? See, I'm trying to develop all the pieces. D3, D6, Bishop G5. Just don't, I would request not to play this. I'll be coming to teaching you this. See, can you see here? It looks very symmetrical, right? It is just a replicate. Normally people will not do it. So this is an Italian opening. This is one opening. Okay. Now Ramni sir was asking, whether I can move a pawn before the queen. Yes, possible. There is another opening I'll show you, sir. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
see here. D4, NF6, C4, okay. This is another opening.
Sir, Mr. Rajesh, in this opening, the bishop can directly capture the horse, and that is the knight.
No, the own bishop will not capture its own knight, no?
No, the black one.
Which
The
one, ma'am?
white bishop can capture the black knight here, not the placement that you have shown here.
No. See, here
Knight.
the white bishop is on F1 and G1. It cannot capture the one knight,
It's
no?
on D4, isn't it? It's on D4. Sorry, that's the pawn. Yes. Okay.
So as you see, there are a lot of openings. So we'll not confuse with the openings right now. Our class today is on movement of pieces.
Yeah,
Let
us focus. Let us focus on that, please.
Yeah.
Raj,
Yeah.
Viruna has one question. This thing you said initial pawn can move two squares. Every pawn can move two square initial pawns, or only?
Yes, every pawn can move two squares. Every pawn.
Okay. Thank
Initial,
you.
every pawn can move two squares.
Okay, thank you.
For the first time. Then.
For the first time. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So either two or one. It depends upon it, but it can move either two or one. Any doubts here?
No.
Okay,
Fine, go
so we'll just revise what we have learned today. We have learned movement. I would request all of you to practice before the next class. Rook goes how? How does the rook move?
Rook goes horizontally and vertically.
Yeah, you can write a note. Rook moves horizontally and vertically.
Only one square.
No, rook can go in all the squares.
Okay.
Only king will go to one square. We are not come to the king and queen yet.
I'm not queen, yes.
King and queen, we are not covered.
Horizontally as well as vertically.
Rook will go horizontal as well as vertical.
Any number of squares.
It can cover all the squares horizontally and vertically. It's like as if its rook is on A1. If the rook is on A1, as I mentioned, if the rook is on A1, which all squares it can cover from A1?
A8 and up to
A8
and
and from H1.
Correct. From A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8. It can go to even, okay, A8 as well as A1, B1, C1, D1, E1,
C1,
F1,
G1.
G1, H1. So it
Yeah.
can go horizontally and vertically.
Okay.
The dark colored bishop, please write down. The dark colored bishop will go in dark squares diagonally. The dark colored bishop can go in dark squares diagonally. And the light colored bishop will go in light squares. Which are the major pieces of a chessboard? Which are the major pieces?
Major
Four,
pieces are
E4.
No, no,
no.
major
Five,
piece.
Major pieces rook,
Last time I mentioned major piece.
Queen and rook.
queen.
Queen and rook.
Queen and rook, exactly. Queen and rook are the major piece. And which are the minor piece?
Bishop and knight.
Bishop and knight are the minor piece. Very good.
Just a minute. Major piece, you said?
Queen and rook are the major piece of a chessboard.
Bishop and knight are the minor.
Bishop and knight are the minor piece.
Yeah. Queen and rook are the major pieces.
Okay. Then we mentioned to pawn. We looked into pawn. We have to cover the king and queen in the next class.
Yeah.
The pawn can move up to 2 squares initially.
And all the pawns.
All the pawns can move up to 2 squares initially.
In vertical line.
No, straight line, yeah.
All the pawns can move up to 2 squares initially.
And vertically.
And vertically. And
capture diagonally.
Later, and the capture happens diagonally. It can only capture diagonally. One step, yeah, one step diagonal. But it can't capture back. It will always capture in the front.
Always front.
Always front. It can't capture in the back. Remember, please. And the pawn only moves front. It can't go back. Clear?
Yes, sir.
All other pieces can move front and back.
Correct. All other pieces, the rook, knight, bishop, queen, king, even the king also can go front and back also.
Okay.
But king can move only one step.
Pardon
only
me?
One square. King.
Yeah?
King can move only one square.
No, queen can, queen, I will come to queen. Queen is the most powerful now. They can go horizontally, vertically and diagonally also.
No,
Queen the pura board cover.
Yes,
Queen,
but
queen
I'm talking of king. The king.
king eight step.
Queen
Only one step.
Yes.
Only one step anywhere.
Anyway.
That will come. We'll come to that. King can go one step anywhere. Okay. And the queen, the movement of queen is horizontal and vertical as well as diagonal. We'll come to that in the next
class. Okay.
Yeah. So today we have covered the rook, bishop, knight, and pawn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any doubts?
Wonderful.
So small homework again. As a small, thank you. Pleasure here also, ma'am. A small homework again. Okay. Chess is something which you have to keep on revising. So I would request again all of you to have this blindfold visualization whenever you get time. Notations. A1 square, A5 kya hai, A3 kya hai. Try to visualize the square with the color.
Okay.
Dusra, today we have learned the movement of pieces. We have learned rook, bishop, knight and pawn. Please practice it. If you have your friends who are coming over, you can practice with them also. Okay, ma'am. Any doubts? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Rajesh.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.
Any
Thank you.
absentees?
Thank
Any
you.
absentees? Do you take attendance?
Thank you,
Do you
Rajesh.
take